We've chosen a drawing that I might like to make into a sculpture. And the way I do it is to trace this onto the wax, and we'll cut the wax out. I'm putting a lot of pressure on the pencil here so that it'll press down and leave an image on the wax. We won't do the whole figure, we'll just do part of it right now. All right, let's see if you had to be careful and fasten your paper down so you can go back to it if you haven't gotten it. Now the good thing about working in wax is you can always change it up until the time you take it to the foundry to be cast. So you don't have to be too precise about this, but you don't want to lose your idea. Now when I get here to the face, I don't have to cut all that out specifically right now, so I'll just take a shortcut here, because I'll be able to see it later. Sort of a process that I guess I developed because I like to make drawings and to get the drawing into kind of the drawing feeling in the wax, which you can then go and hope it shows up in the bronze. It's fairly physical at this point because that's pretty tough stuff. There's a piece of wax off. Well, we know she's in there somewhere. Pretty soon she'll come out. Then the fun begins. She's getting to be there. Now if something happens like that, don't worry about it because we just will stick it back together. So here's our drawing. Then she goes like this, and this is going to be on here like this. Now I'll show you how you can make the next step with some hot wax and some tools that'll get us along there. Maybe we'll do it like this so you can see it better. Wax is great material. It's so malleable. You can make it do whatever you want, and if you don't like what you have, you just change it. This little table over here is a heating table that allows me to bring the temperature of the wax up to a kind that I can work with it with my hands. It'll soften it. These little pieces are in here so that I can get them and there'll be different degrees of hot. Then I have a number of tools that I have made that have different shapes on the ends of them, and you can use that to form the kind of shapes you need when you're working with it. This tool's hot now, and you'll be able to see that it's going to go right into the wax. See here? And then as it hardens, that all comes together. And you can put a little extra in here if you need to. And you see how the tool will melt the wax, and I can use this to shape the edge very easily. If I want to draw into it, you can also just cut in and make a line. The thing is that we have to put an armature, a metal armature, in this before I really get into very much detail. What I'll do is show you how it would go across this arm up here. I think you'll get the idea that you don't make an armature in a couple of minutes. Usually if you're going to have a finger sticking out or a hand, you need to have some support in it. Especially for the mold makers, they always appreciate that. Okay, let's say that that's pretty close to it. Now comes a more difficult, tricky part, is that you're going to cut out a space for it. You're going to try to do this without losing the shape. You know, I have spent whole days making just the armature inside the wax. So it's not a real quick thing. There's probably a better way of doing this. This is the way I've been doing it. I hate running into the armature when I'm working on the piece afterwards because it involves changing everything a whole lot, and that's not a lot of fun. We're just showing you how to put an armature in a piece. I think you'll see what you can do with it. This will drop right in here, it should. Now you end up with something kind of like that. And you want to get the wire down sort of in the middle of the wax, not all the way down and not sticking up too much. Now this wax has been heating up over here, is then filled in here. And this will usually get you started somewhat as to what the surface of the piece will look like, and you can almost begin to put some expression into it as you work on it. Now what I usually do to be sure that the wax is really down tight around the armature is run a hot tool down in there. You want to get down in here where that armature is and let the wax really get all around the armature so it'll be strong. But I think you can see that you can draw with a hot tool, which gives you a certain fluid quality to a surface or to a contour on a piece, which is just a lot of fun. I think one of the biggest, most interesting things that's happened to me is just learning how to draw the figure with a hot tool and to make the wax have a flow and a life that can be transferred to bronze. So that's why a lot of the things look the way they do that I make. You end up with a really loose looking surface that is alive. I can look back over here and see how she looks and maybe fix it a little bit before I do anything else. Oh yeah, I didn't give her a chin. So now she gets a chin. And now you see it starts to look a little like her. Yeah. It's like bas relief. If you can you see what happens? It starts to look round. This is kind of hard to explain, but you can do so much with the fluid wax. It really is just like working with a drawing with charcoal. And of course, that's kind of the fun of it. See that? It's fun to do that. We can get the one that I'm currently working on to look at her with that one. You can see she's coming right along. The back of this has been built up, and I don't mind saying that sculpture is supposed to be mass and volume, and I purposely am going the other way. So if it has a back and a front, that's all right with me. I'll still be able to give the look and illusion of deep space by using bas relief technique. This isn't very far along, but by changing and turning an edge, you can give it the appearance of volume. And to give it a little more strength and so it doesn't look exactly like a cutout, I don't mind building up the back of it so it has a shell like a pecan shell or walnut shell look, which is really structural and makes it stand there. But if you do it right, you begin to have a nice pattern on the back that echoes the form on the front. This is a kind of a weird art form, but it's somewhere between drawing and full three-dimensional sculpture. This is, see, it appears to be her dancing partner, but the same it's a piece I'm working on, and it's going to go something like that. The title of this piece is The Next Step, which is the title of the exhibition. This is the back with this shell-like quality I was talking about. And this is a bronze casting that is cleaned up and ready to be patinaed. It doesn't have patina yet. And it looks kind of like this from the front. Title of this piece, I'll just tell you, is He Loved to Dance. Now, this is an earlier piece. This is probably 12 or 15 years old. And this is, even though it's made like that quite a bit, it's really in the round. It's just that it's not very thick. This is a solid casting. And if you look at it on the end, you can see what it does. It sort of slides through space. Here's a fresh, by fresh I mean it's a new piece, It's a young person with a Palm Pilot, but I think it really speaks to our time. This would not have been made, a few years earlier. And yet it carries some of the most oldest traditional method of making something. Out of metal, it's a figure. But it only exists in our time. Who knows about our time, but anyway. I ultimately said I think the human figure is the most important subject matter you can have. And to add to that, if you can do the time you're in, the time frame you're in, with all of its ramifications, and somehow have these figures suggest that, I think you're in a pretty good place. I'm kind of enjoying just looking back at stuff and tracing my own pattern a little bit. It's, anybody that works at stuff likes to do that, I guess, and reminisce about it a bit. However, I'm really more interested in what I'm going to do next.